God is all there is. God is everywhere. A powerful presence felt by everything and everyone in the stillness of their very being. Such great beauty is the divine. Such blessings arise and populate the hearts of all the individuals with the happy thoughts, creative ideas. God is the creative source of all there is. Never is there anything more powerful, more beautiful, more divine, more infinite than divine spirit. Divine spirit thrives and lives and blossoms 1,000 times per second in all the spaces in the universe. This constant creation of goodness is for everyone. And so I know today is blessed. Today is this day that God has made, is making forever and ever. And knowing this, I am so filled with gratitude. For the creation that goes on and the recreation that continues, that no matter what happens, there are blessings behind everything that comes through and impacts us physically, emotionally, spiritually. There are blessings that are born of this. For we, all of us, are part of this divine energy of God. I know that whatever storms come our way, they pass easily, smoothly. They move forward. And they leave for us an enriched experience, a way to blossom again, to grow, for the seeds to sprout, the seeds of the ideas and the dreams that each person has. And because it is for everyone and everything, we also know, I also know, there is peace, heartfelt peace and inspiration to move forward step by step, hand in hand, heart to heart, connected, and recreating all that needs to be, creating anew all that wants to be. The community of humankind celebrates, understands, and knows that all things come and go. What remains in place is love, faith, unity, and absolute knowing that all is truly well. I know that wherever the rains and the storms go, that they leave blessings as well as changing things. I know that in the hearts of all those who are witnesses here, send blessings and love to those who are in the midst of these changes to their environment, to their ways of being, to their ways of living. And I know, and I declare that it is for the good, for the highest good. Life goes on beautifully, peacefully, hand in hand, heart to heart. So I give thanks for this community of Om, for this outreach through the internet, through the technology. I give thanks for all who participate in making it happen today. I give thanks for the blessed words of inspiration given by Reverend Suzette, for the incredible music and voice of love by Talia, for all who are joined together here today, right now, in this moment that I call forever, unforgotten, and thriving and raising our hands up to the sky in celebration of this day that God has made. So I call it good, very good. And so it is.
And so it is.
And at this time, I would like to bring back the beautiful, incredible, not just the music, but Talia herself. Sing for us.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling! I'm happy again. I'm laughing at clouds so dark up above. The sun's in my heart and I'm ready for love. Let the stormy clouds chase everyone from the place. Come on with the rain, I've a smile on my face. I walk down the lane with a happy refrain, just singing in the rain. Do 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 do
Yeah. Thanks, Talia. That was beautiful. Appreciate it. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm just going through who's online, and Susie, it's good to see you. Yay. Is Zoe out here, or is she there with you?
She is at the Cedar Ridge camp. She's been there all summer long.
That's right. That's right. Right. Well, if you talk to her, she's supposed to get back to me. So make sure she does.
I will tell her to.
Good to see you. We miss you guys.
We miss you.
Anyways, good to see everybody. I'm glad you're here today. And what I'm grateful for is that everybody is so well versed in Zoom, and that we could just during this time make a big switch, and it was pretty easy to do. So I have two questions this morning, and for those who have answered, I want to make sure you have your chat room up. So if you want to send me a note during the talk, you can do that. Also that you have know where to reactions, so that if you like something I said, you can put a heart out there. It gives me a little feedback. But first question is for those who have not answered this. Do you know what the picture is behind me? Did that picture come from? Give you a moment to react to that. And if you've already told me, tell me again. I just want to give people a chance to play with the chat here. So type something back in there. And we're recording this, and that's okay. I want to make sure you all know how to play. Nobody knows? All right, who did know? Mava, you knew what it was. Type it again so people can see your answer. There's one. There you go, Victorious. That's right, the previous location. So now that you know how to use the chat room, I have a question for you. Who said this quote? And I want to write down who you think said this quote. Good. All right, here we go. Imperfection is beauty. Madness is genius. And it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Who said this? You probably won't guess, but maybe you might know. I'll see if anybody can. If you don't know, just type I don't know. I want to make sure you know how to use this chat. Any guesses? Phyllis Diller, that's good. I don't know. All right. Well, it's the infamous Marilyn Monroe. I know, isn't that kind of cool? You cheated. I saw that. You went online there, Victoria. Imperfection is beauty. Madness is genius, and it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. You know, what she's really telling us is that our imperfections and our unique qualities contribute to the beauty and the creativity of who we are. Well, you guys are getting there. And to what I would say is to embrace our imperfections, because our imperfections in some ways, and I have a lot of little stories about this today, bring forth our passion later in life. So it's important that we celebrate who we are now based upon what's happened prior to our time. I wrote down, and I think it's really important. How many here? How many here? And I'm going to do a little going back and forth. How many of here on this call have been? Just do me a little icon. Have been realized that over lifetime we've been trying to find ourselves. Go up to the reaction. Let me know. You've been trying to find yourself. Look at, yeah, there you go. All of us trying to find ourselves. Very good. Thank you. The key here, oh, somebody's celebrating. There's Martin celebrating it. Yep. It's a process of learning about life, just finding ourselves and trusting you'll get there. Because I think it's really something that I know for myself. I've always tried to figure out, well, I don't like what I see, and it's not getting me there. But this process of learning about life and getting there is to realize that even though it doesn't look that way, it's like going down the rapids. you see these monstrous waves and going, how am I going to get through that? And all of a sudden, everybody starts working together. So I'm going to give you a short story, and this is a true story. Yesterday, I had to take Forrest for his snake training. And what does that have to do with Dory? Well, Dee Dee wants to get in. Okay, I'm going to let somebody else let them in here. Forrest, we have snakes out here, and so we have to pay attention to our dogs and our animals so they don't, get hurt. So he went to his very first snake training yesterday. And of course, we get there and he wants to talk to the other dogs and he's friends with all the people. And of course, I know what's coming on. I know what's going to happen to him. And so eventually we go over to this holding area, and the trainer starts talking to me, and they're kind of checking him out because he's only 6 months old, to make sure that he's mature enough to do this process. Well, anyway, they finally get him all ready to go and start walking him through the process. And what it is they have a baby snake, they have a snake skin, they have a real snake with a rattler, and they have a moving snake rattler anyway, the point being is that he has 4 different stations to go to. And I know, and of course, it's like someone who's a parent, every time he doesn't do well, they do a little shock on him. And of course, my heart, I almost cried watching my baby have to be shocked. Now, we all think about our lives and we think about our children and think about, I was about Force, is that, sometimes life is a shock. It's a surprise. And it's not what we expect. But we learn something valuable through that. So for him, by the time he was done, he didn't want to visit anybody. He just wanted to go to the car. And I almost lost him because he was like, get me the heck out of here. It was really amazing for me to watch him. And he's very strong as a puppy. But then on the other side, today it's raining. And he's never heard rain, and he has these huge ears. So he's now listening to the sounds of the earth. And it's fun to watch him because he's like, what is that? And so this is what life is about. Life is about these different expressions that we have. Can you guys relate to that as you've been growing up as to become an adult? Sometimes it's shocking. Sometimes it's the self-discovery. Sometimes it's about, oh my God, I am in the midst of God and I hear the sounds of the vibrations of spirit. So this month we're exploring the theme of passion and purpose, but I want you to realize that it's how we get along the road to get there. And what happens to us in life is valuable. In fact, I call it a gift. The thing, I have a lot to say about this, and I'll try and make it all make sense. But along the way, there are things that happen to us that we forget to examine, or we bury them. So it's like, oh no, that's never going to be part of me. Or we make mistakes on the way. But every single thing that's transpired to us, for us, through us, has been on purpose. Because I say that everyone here is perfect, whole, and complete. Now, we say that, in a jargonish way. But the truth is, each moment of our lives is exactly where we needed to be. Because, as Sylvia said, they are gifts. We have to learn the gifts of life that will get us to a place where our trials of life become the thing we want to do, or to heal the lives of others, or heal the lives in our family, or heal the lives of our community, and maybe, if we're lucky, heal the lives of the world. So if we took just this storm Now, I don't know about you, but I've got a little bit of rain out here. It's not very bad. So we haven't heard the fullness of this thing. But isn't it amazing because of all the experience of storms of other places that we have the benefit of phone phone messaging, be aware, television telling us what to do, so that we're all really prepared. But there had to be something to happen prior to that for them to realize that maybe this might be an issue for us. Now, as I'm speaking, I'm noticing the rain's coming down a little bit harder. So I'm thinking as I'm doing my talk, it's going to start to roll over us. There's nothing to worry about because we're all prepared. Anyway, I want you to know that as I was growing up, and I'm going to give you some examples of how I had no idea I would be a minister. I knew I had a relationship with the divine since I was a little girl, but I had no idea that I would become who I am and the values that I have today. So I have some examples. And as I talk about my examples, I want you to think about yourself. Think about your life growing up and what sparked you, whether it was good or bad or indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's just something happened in your life that made you have a value that maybe you didn't like. And I'll talk about some of those. And that you shifted your entire life to be different because of that. So I'm going to give you a few examples. One was sports. Everybody knows that I played badminton when I was in junior high, high school, and college. And you may or may not know this, but if you're in a sport, you're always want to do better. So that means you're always judging yourself. You're always judging your performance. You're always judging if you're going to do the right thing. And in badminton, it's not fun, but if you have a badminton racket, many of the times I learned this as a little girl, people would hit their leg like I didn't do very well or I need to get better. But those were all judgment calls I had on myself. Anyway, because of that, I've learned to not like the word judgment. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have opinions or judgments or discernment, just judgment, I'm being judging. So one of the cool things about Om is that we don't judge at our location. We move towards acceptance and opportunities. And I hear this over and over and over from people that visit us. There's no judgment here. It's like, yeah, it's because we've created a culture like that. But this is something that is very valuable to me. I've been in sales for over 35 years. Things that I have learned in corporations and in sales is that there are a lot of hidden agendas or there's politics. Well, because of that, the work I do in the world now, there's no place for hidden agendas. I don't work with people who have a hidden agenda or politics. I don't want to be a part of that. And as a result, Om doesn't have that. There's no place for that in our organization. Here's a good one. You'll like this one. Some of you who have children might understand this. But when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my stepmother told me, she said to me, and I can remember the day it happened. She yelled out as I'm walking away from her. She said, "You'll never account for anything in your life." And I'm like, oh. But I'll tell you, her statement strengthened my resolve to be better at as many things as I could be. And I thank you, God, my grandmother encouraged me along the way. I had somebody that balanced that. And then the last thing I want to say is that I've had several businesses, and being in debt caused me to really look at money in a different kind of way. In fact, my father filed bankruptcy 3 times. I don't think you can do that anymore. But I said to myself, I have to stop that pattern. But what it ended up teaching me was good stewardship and being honoring money and honoring savings and honoring tithing and the value of abundance. And to realize, and this is something that's kind of come on in my latter years, but the value of the relationship between tithing and spiritual development. Because when we're giving to that place that is feeding us, whether it's we're taking a class and investing in ourselves and paying for a class, or we're giving to somebody or someplace that spiritually feeds us, that's spirit is the universe is saying, good for you, because now you're putting yourself where you want to believe in. You want to believe in the good. You want to believe in that spiritual awareness. So the last part about this, about being learning how to get out of debt and being out of debt and finally moving into a place of savings, is that I now have no fear of money or talking to people about money, which is a topic that most people do not talk about, right? They don't talk about money. They don't talk about money. They don't talk about sex. So anyway, I'm here to tell you that it's okay. Life happens and it's not the end of the world. It's just about being aware and saying, I want to move to this direction and moving in that direction. And it's okay. Wherever you are, it's perfect. It really is. Anyway, I could go on and on about what I learned. And what I want is us to understand what happens to us in our life has influenced our purpose in life. What happens to us has now influenced who we are today. And I've heard many stories from many people, but generally what I hear is this happened to me as a child or as I was growing up, and they then have become something greater because they realize that lesson helped me become who I am today. So I want to talk about a few things about that we have to do to guide ourselves along this path, because it's not easy. It's not easy to stay positive and good and da 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 da. So you might want to write these down. And if any of these have value to you, I really like to see your icons, because to me it's important. The first thing is we have to stop doubting ourselves and doubting our ability. We are hardwired for fear based on survival techniques or instinct. And so sometimes what happens, and I remember when I started the mind, that we have a larger percentage of negative thought. So for every negative thought you have, immediately reverse it. Even it may feel like real, but it's not real. It's just a thought. Because when you start to reverse it, you start to put in a new groove. Remember, I've been talking about the grooves in our brain, creating new streets in our brain. That's what I want to do, is to let go of those negative thoughts, and you erase them when you put a thought in there. The second thing, somebody's out to get us. Has anybody had that one? That's out to get me? Give me a reaction. Yeah, sometimes we think somebody's out to get us. The truth is, they're not. It's all in our head. Now, I'll give you an example here. I see some reactions there. I'll give you an example. I've been in sales for 35 years. And every once in a while, I'll have this feeling somebody's out to get me. So I have stopped thinking that way. Instead, I give people 3 chances. Now, after the third time of, it didn't feel right, I just don't spend any more time with them. I just don't waste my good energy, my happiness, my sales, let's say, into that, because it's not worth my time. I want to be around everyone that's here. I want to be around that happiness. So I find the people that I get to be around. Yeah, I love that. Bullseye, move right to the place that makes me happy. So when I walk in, it's like a new friend that I get to talk to. It's something different. How many have the idea that they're not good enough, or have in their past? Let's just say in the past, I'm not good enough. I think we all have had at some point. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I'm seeing your reactions. Well, the truth is, you are. You're perfect just the way you are. In fact, one of the classes I had, someone said something to me like, I always have this self-doubt about myself. And what I want to say is that's when you say, I'm perfect, whole, and complete the way I am. Go ahead and do that. Tell your mind I'm okay, even when it may not look like it, because eventually it will look like it. Another one, which I think is really interesting, is that there's not enough. How many people saw the news? I'm kind of blown away. In fact, we had somebody call us here and say, they just went to Trader Joe's and bought up all the water. I mean, for this storm, there were people buying out the store. I mean, it's only going to be 24 hours. And if you don't have enough water for 24 hours, goodness. But we go to this place where there's not enough. And what I want you to know is there is an abundance of supply everywhere. And let's just say, you know what? Something happened and the roads are blocked and you can't get water. You can turn on your faucet. It's not going to kill you for a day. Just have a little water. There's plenty. Or there will be someone out there in your area taking care of you. There's always going to be enough. I mean, just take a look at Maui. The second day in Maui, there was an abundance of food, of water, of support, and yet a large area. So it's still not 100%, but they're going to get there. So we have to realize that it's there, and always believe in that. Always know that. Here's the thing about these 4 things I just talked about. Negative thoughts. Someone's out there that's not good enough. Limited supply. Every single one of those block our manifestations. It blocks us from moving forward. So we just know, you know what, I'm holding back my good because I'm in this negative place. Reverse it. Just try to reverse. We have to remember that we are part of the universal intelligence. And if we pay attention to that as we're going through life, we will be directed to the next thing. It will always come forward. We have to know we're not alone. We are never alone, and we have to trust our experiences. So all the experiences you had as a child or growing up or becoming an adult, we have to trust those were important to us to become who we are today. And I think that everybody, I got a call this week from somebody who just absolutely appreciated getting to know everybody here. They just really had great appreciation for the intelligence that was being expressed, and they want to come and meet you. So I'm kind of like, wow, this is cool to know that all of you are just blessed because you're willing to say what needs to be said and you're not afraid to. I just think it's really amazing. The other thing, which I think we talk a lot about, but I don't think that we necessarily sometimes don't believe, but the one word that Tom has taught me over the years has been the appearance. Is the appearance of the current conditions do not reveal the true situation. If anything, they are only showing us the result of our past thinking, and then allowing us to make corrections along the way. Now, I'm going to say that again because I think that's an important thing to remember. The current conditions do not reveal the truth of the situation. They only show us the result of our past thinking, which then allows us to make corrections along the way. So if your conditions don't feel like the way you want them to be, you are now at choice to move forward. You don't have to think that way. Let it go. It no longer serves you. Move on. I have more things, but one of them that just kind of stands out for me is that a statement that says we have to move past the fear that no one will like what we have to offer. You know, I talk about this all the time. Sometimes I feel like I stick my foot in my mouth when I'm amongst a bunch of ministers, because I always say what needs to be said in the room. The thing that we have to remember, and even I have to remember, is that I have to value what it needs to be said, because everything that we do is an expansion for a situation. As long as we have good intentions, they're for the betterment of life, society, everything else. Ernest Holmes says that. He says, if the spiritual universe were not perfect, it could not exist for a single moment. The truth is invisible and whole. God is complete and perfect. Just like you. How many people have heard of the software company called Intuit? Give me a sign. Yeah, lots of hands up. Good. Well, they have a special award. I love this. A special award for the best failure, and create a failure party to celebrate. Isn't that great? I love it. A failure party. And here's what the co-founder, Scott Cook, says. Every failure teaches something important that can be the seed for the next great idea. There is a reward in Google. Also, there's a reward in Google for making mistakes and taking risks. Both companies recognize the lesson comes out of discovering what does not work. I just think that's wonderful. It's important that we learn to step out of our comfort zone, because when we do, we open up and we grow and we expand our life. So I love being the one person at home. I do this a lot, is say, oops, I made a mistake. Because then it gives everybody else permission. And it's not a big deal. It just is what it is. Right, Rob? It just is what it is. The thing is we have to realize that we don't have to fit in. Fitting in isn't the goal. Fitting in isn't the goal. It's offering the possibilities, because spiritually, what we're doing is we're planting seeds, and we're giving the mistake or the seed or the question of space to germinate, to take place. You know, it's important that we do that. If we don't do that, what we end up doing is we end up stopping ourselves from our growth and anything else around us. One of the last points I want to offer is this, and that is, I want to invite us to have a broader perspective of everything, like the storm, our children, our life, or whatever. Having that broader perspective gives us a greater opportunity to bring forth things and to create things. When we are narrow, everybody put their hands right by their head like this. Please do. When we do that, what do you see? You just see what's in front of you. When you put your hands out, you have a much broader perspective of everything that's going on. When we are so narrow-minded, we start to judge the situation. The thing is, the universe is putting things in place for us, and we have to have a broader view. It's important just to stay on target with your vision, and then daily claim the possibilities, opposed to going, this is the only way it's going to get done, like black and white. We don't do that. There are possibilities. There are gray. In fact, here's something hopefully you can or cannot see that. I don't know if you can. Oh, you can see it. But the idea, oh, well, maybe back here. No, you can't see it. There, you kind of do, sort of. Nah. It's a tapestry. Anyway, if you were to see what this was, you could see what this was. I know what to do about it, but I'm going to leave it alone. If you see what this does, is it's a picture actually that Cindy made when she was 9 years old, and it's yarn that she made a picture of a turtle. If you can see it back here. But if you really looked at it closely, it just looks like a little, like a mess. Like, what was she thinking of? But from a distance, it's a big picture. Very good point, Rob. In fact, Christian Sorensen has a quote, and I want you to also hold him in your prayers. Him and I have something in common. We both fell off of our e-bikes and got hurt, and he's in the middle of recovering. So just know for him, he's going to be okay. We're all praying for him. But he said this: when you're too close to something, it's impossible to see larger picture. The defense system of our myopic vision will keep you from going outside the norm and acceptable peer projection. In other words, we confine ourselves when we don't look outside. Open up your vision. Thing you have to remember is that the universe loves, absolutely loves to manifest itself through us. And that it will give us guidelines and to see things along the way. That's kind of the fun part. We don't talk about our manifestations or knowing that this is happening, but when we are looking at it from a bigger picture, we start to get these little clues along the way. Oh, that's what it needs. And it's just kind of realigning everything so we can move to the vision that we really want. So if you're not doing that, start to try and do that a little bit more and see what happens. We have to remember that life's not haphazard. If you look outside your window, it's so perfect out there. I have perfect weeds out there. I guarantee you, I have perfect weeds in my backyard, and the rain is going to bring me a lot more. And every single one of them has a sticker on it for me to remember that it's a perfect weed. I know, funny, huh? Upside down smile, I like that. But the life is not haphazard. It really is about our belief system. And that's a natural consequence of our thought. So you have an option at any moment to shift that. And the fun part is when we really start to expand our expectations, we start to look at, well, what are the possibilities, is that it will start to come to you. I was talking to somebody this week, I don't remember who it was, who said, oh yeah, I was expecting this, it didn't come. And then they were laughing because it showed up. They were so far into the doubt that's what was I don't know if it's holding it back, but my point is it eventually did. It was about being patient in the process. We have to remember that it's our judgment that gets in the way. Remember, I said we don't have any judgment. So I know we apply that at home. I want you to apply that to your life. Start thinking about the opportunities, the expansion. So I'm going to end with this, and then we'll have our music back. Brene Brown says this. She says, because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world. Imperfect self to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. So I want you to know, from my point of view, and not just mine, but I hear it often from other people, how really incredible you all are. you people, I don't want to say it that way, that all of you are. And watching you grow and watching you burst into who you are becoming is showing me your purpose and your passion and your love for this community. And it's just, sometimes I'm just so filled with all the love that you all bring to the surface. So give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a big hug today. Let's do that. Let's hug yourself. I want to see those hugs. You deserve it. You're a pretty amazing individual. So I want you to accept your perfection, knowing that Spirit's moving through you. And when the question of life comes up in your mind and your heart together, so it's your mind and heart working together, simply ask and let your passion for good to be revealed. Don't hold back. It needs to be, you are needed in the world. You are needed in the world. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. You're so welcome, everybody. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, and I'm going to speak the affirmation, and then I will pray us, do the ending prayer, and we'll have Talia back with her song. So close your eyes, and here's what I'm knowing for all of you, and I'm going to say it 3 times. You are a spiritual being living your perfect human experience. You are a spiritual being living your perfect human experience. And you are a spiritual being living your perfect human experience. And so as we go into prayer, ending this talk, I am knowing that the infinite spirit, which we call God, Jesus, Allah, whatever word it is in this conference, in this Zoom room, in this talk, moving through me, moving through you, here and now, connecting all the dots to know that everything that has ever transpired in our lives has been for the betterment and the good of who we are today. And that because of we have learned the lessons and we're moving forward to make a difference in the world. And so I bless everyone that is listening to this talk, everyone who will come later to listen to this talk, knowing that each individual, that there's something in this talk touches you and reminds you of the perfection of who you are here and now. So I claim this good for everyone. I give great thanks. Thanks that the universe has brought us all forward to this place that we actually understand the principle of good and expansion. I give thanks for everyone that is on this call today, and I know and release these words into the infinite law of mind and our hearts, knowing that it is operating here and now and that it is perfect. And so I let it be, and so it is.